And this may be between two countries, the war, but it's affecting practically every country on the planet. It has led to food shortage. It has disrupted global trade, and now there is a global energy crisis. Almost every continent is facing shortages. Ecuador and South Africa are running low on fuel. South Asia is struggling too. Sri Lanka is the worst hit, of course, but Pakistan is close. There are repeated power cuts. Offices have cut short their work weeks in Pakistan. In Panama, the situation is getting out of hand. Rising fuel prices have led to a violent pushback. Protests are on in Ghana, Cameroon, Argentina and Peru too. People are angry about surging prices and shortages across the board. Developing economies are struggling. What about the developed nations? Well, they've managed fine so far. The US is facing a slowdown, but it could avoid a recession. That's what their Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, has said. She believes that a downturn is no longer inevitable. And she gives two reasons for that. Number one, the unemployment numbers. Unemployment still remains low in the US. Less than 4% of Americans don't have a job, which is obviously a good thing. It's a low figure. Reason number two is consumer spending. It is not growing at a rapid pace in the US, and that helps when you're trying to contain inflation. Simple economics. Less spending means less demand, and less demand means less price rise. In the month of May, consumer spending in the US grew by 0.2%. So they may just be able to avoid a recession. It's still early days, but that's the projection. But what is clear is that their economy will slow down. Yellen says it's unavoidable, the slowdown. Plus, they have another problem. The US dollar is becoming stronger by the day. Today, it is the strongest it has been in a generation. Now, why is that a problem? Why is a strong dollar a problem? A strong dollar hurts businesses. Businesses in America and elsewhere are losing billions because the dollar is more expensive now. You see, multinational companies earn in other currencies too. But when they convert those earnings into dollars, they have lesser money, lesser value. Let me give you some examples. Computing giant IBM has issued a warning. The company says it will lose as much as $3.5 billion in revenues because the dollar is strong. Johnson & Johnson could lose $4 billion in sales. Cigarette manufacturer Philip Morris stands to lose $500 million. Netflix estimates it has taken a hit of $339 million in sales. Like I said, these are multinational companies. A large chunk of their revenues comes from outside the US. So when the dollar goes up, it reduces the value of their earnings. Also, these numbers, which I just shared, are mere projections at the moment. The losses could mount if the dollar appreciates further. Businesses are under strain across the world. In Germany, experts say the economy is on the brink of recession. And they give three reasons why. Number one is a muted pandemic recovery. Number two, rampant inflation. Number three, shortages. German businesses fear a serious shortage of energy supplies like gas, and that would hurt business activity. It would make the economy contract. In fact, businesses are going under already. Last week, Berlin bailed out a gas company. It was the largest importer of Russian gas. We know that Russia has cut supplies to Europe over Western sanctions. Now, this company could not survive those cuts. It was about to go bankrupt. That's when the German government stepped in. It will pump more than $7 billion to rescue this company. But how many companies can governments rescue? Italy, too, is planning a cash infusion. A stimulus package of more than $13 billion is being prepared. There are, in fact, warnings of a serious recession in Europe. Italians are struggling with rising inflation. So the government plans to spend these $13 billion to give them some relief. The money will be used to control electricity, gas and petrol prices. But it may not be enough. Last week, Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi resigned. A snap election will be held in September. Europe has not been hit by recession yet. But the economic turmoil is already taking down governments. Italy is the first. It may not be the last. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.